Hey there guys, what is up? It is Jake, and today we are going to have our second tutorial in my Visual Studio group of tutorials. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open Visual Studio. I have it pinned to my taskbar as I showed you guys last time. And we're just going to go ahead and create a new project by pressing Control N. You can click this icon up here. You can go to File, New Project, or you can simply select the New Project option on the Start page. And we're always going to navigate back to, no matter where we are, we're going to navigate back to Visual Basic, and we're going to click on Windows Form Application. We're going to name this application Beginner Form. And all we are going to do with this form is we're going to make a picture appear and disappear using a button. So basically we're going to name this Beginner Form, and we're going to press OK. And then right away, I'm just going to go ahead and throw on a picture box and a button. So you can either do this one or two ways. You can take the button and you can click and drag it on, or you can simply click button and then just click on your form and it'll bring another one there for you. So I'm going ahead and size this up real quick just so it looks good. And we're actually going to bring a label in too for a title. So we'll just put that label up there and kind of just move everything around so that's the situation. You can resize anything you want by using the sizing handles after clicking on any control or object, whichever you prefer to call them. And let's start with the form actually. So click on the top of the form here and it'll bring up the properties down on the right hand for the form. Remember, if your window layout does not look like this, you're going to go Window, Reset Window Layout, and then just come over here. I'm going to do it for you real quick. And we're just going to click on the toolbox and we're going to pin this toolbox. That way these are all here for us all the time and everything is situated. So just going to go ahead and click on that form, and over in the name section I'm actually going to put a list up on the screen right about now that has all the 3-letter abbreviation prefixes for at least the stuff we're going to use today. I might throw a couple more on there, not quite sure yet, but we will see. So we're going to name this form FRM Beginner. And FRM is the 3-letter prefix for a form object. Because this form actually is an object, you can bring in more forms later. We're probably not going to do that for quite a while. I don't know why I brought a text box. But we're probably not going to do that for quite a while, so I wouldn't worry about that right now. And so now, after you change the name of your form object, we're going to come down, and we're going to create some text on this so that it no longer says Form 1 up here. So we're going to go down, you're going to use your text property, and we're going to change this to Beginner Form. Sorry, I'm a terrible speller. I'm a terrible typer. Just going to go Beginner Form. Alright, so now that we have this named and we have an appropriate text at the top, we can move on. We can do our label. And now for label, if you remember, it's going to be LBL. And we're just going to call this the title. And then we're just going to scroll down to the text again. And we're going to make this wallpaper selection. Let's just call it for now. And then we're just going to situate this in our form. See right there, I double-clicked my label, so that's what brought up the code if you remember from last time. So I'm just going to exit out of that code. We don't need that right now. So I'm just going to bring this wallpaper over until it looks good. We'll get into formatting eventually. We'll get into it a little bit later. So you can go ahead and see that that is your title, and I just double-clicked again. I'm really bad at that. I apologize. And we're going to go up to our font, and I'm just going to change this real quick. If you remember, you can just go over your properties window and scroll until you see font and click the little Lisp here. And I'm going to use pretty crazy font. I don't know, let's use Ketchup, which is spelled incorrectly. We're going to use this thin italic. Let's make it a 10. Just make it a little fun. So there you go. There's our title, properly named, properly labeled, and with proper text in it. So let's move on to the picture box. Now here's where it's going to get a little interesting. So for picture box, it's going to be PIC, and we're just going to call this wallpaper. And now at the bottom, you can see that there is no text thing. There is no text property, sorry. So without a text property, you can't put text in it. Well, okay, obviously it's a picture box, so we want to find something to put a picture in there. So we're going to scroll down, and we're going to find image. And on this image, there's going to be another little Lisp, just like using the font property. We're going to click that, and if this is checked, you want to make sure that this radio button is checked, and we're going to come down here, and we're going to press import. So now you want to scroll to whatever photo that you would like to use. I'm going to use this one, which is just my desktop background. And then after it's imported, you can use it in any picture box you have in your program. So we're going to press OK. And the first thing you notice is that the picture doesn't show up. Only part of the picture is showing up, just a little bit of black. And that is due to the size mode of the text box, or the picture box, my bad. So we're going to come down, and I'm just going to show you something real quick. If we make this form bigger, you can actually see that the picture is all there, but since the picture box is only so big, so much of it is showing. So we're just going to put this back to where it was. And I'll show you. You go down, and you can scroll in your properties window, and you want to go down to size mode. Size mode is what is going to do all the changes for us. Stretch image is going to be your best bet almost always. Now I'm just going to resituate this stuff, because size mode makes it so that the picture shrinks into the size of the picture box rather than, say, this center image or this auto size. The auto size will make the picture box as big as the picture, and the center image will only take the center of the photo and put it in the size of that picture box. Now there's another one down here, it's called zoom, and this will give you appropriate proportions for what your picture should be. So you can use that one if you want the exact sizes, but I usually just use that stretch image because it doesn't look too bad. I think it looks fine. But if you want to be very, very precise, you also have to manually size it and everything. So go ahead and just use that size mode. And we also want to come down here and we want to check out this visible property. Now this visible property is very interesting. Basically, in Visual Basic terms, visible means whether the picture is showing to the user or not showing to the user. No matter what, it's always going to be showing in your design, in this design window. But let's say we run the program by going up here and pressing Start Debugging, which don't worry about this. So right now you can see it because the visible mode is set to true. So true is to on and false is off. So in Visual Basic, everything is either true or false. So it's either a yes or a no, or it's an off, an on. But it always is represented as a true and a false. So we're actually going to go ahead and change this to false. And then let's debug this real quick again. And you can see that when our form comes up, nothing shows in that picture box. So we want to change that to false, and I will show you guys later, because later we are going to make it so that when we click this button right here, that picture is going to show up. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and go down to this button. We're going to rename this button BTN Go. I always name my calculate or like search or whatever your main button is your form. I always make it button go because that way it's primary in all of your code for any program you use. It's always the same and it helps you out a lot. And we're going to make this text show. So that way when we click this, it'll show this picture when we're done coding. So now that we have this properly labeled and we have it properly named, you can also see that our form looks a lot better than it did before. So we're actually going to just move all this over a little bit just so we can take away as much space as possible. So now here's what you want to do. You want to go over to your button and you want to double click this button. Now this will bring up the code. I'm just going to delete this so that you guys can see what it should look like on your screen. And this will bring up your code. Now, one of the things we want to do is make that picture visible when we click this button. So when you double click on this button, it'll bring up the code for what happens when a user clicks that button. So we want to use that same visible property. So we're going to go ahead and say that when we click this button, you want your picture. So you want to bring up pick wallpaper by just typing in PIC, and this IntelliSense box will help you pick out what options you can use so that you don't use any extraneous things or you don't have to worry about messing up too much. So you want to just go ahead and click pick wallpaper, and then you can either click on it and do it that way, or you can press enter and then just backspace back up to that line, and then you want to go dot visible. So basically all this is saying is that you're setting the visible property for this picture. So you want to have your object and your property. So it's always going to be object.property, just like that. And then after that, you're going to do a space, and you're going to go equals. And here's where you do your true and false. So if we want the picture to show when we click the button, we're going to go ahead and select true. So we're just going to press enter and do that. And now this is all you really need to do for this code. You just need to set your object dot property equals true or false. So let's go ahead and run this. And alright, so we have no picture right now, but when we click our button, there you go. Our picture is showing. And then you just click over on this exit button. If that doesn't work, sometimes you might have to go up here and press this little box. It'll be blue when it shows up. I'll show you guys real quick. You can always, instead of using this, it's usually better to just go up here and press that little blue box that says stop debugging. So this is basically the form for everything. You're always going to want to go object dot whatever property you're using, and then you're going to go equals, and then you're going to go true, false, or there's lots of other options that we'll get to later. So for today, guys, that is going to be it. I hope you enjoyed making your first little program and doing some little code in there. There you go. There you have it. I will see you guys in tutorial 3, and in that tutorial we will get a little bit more in depth with the properties. Not too much, but we'll see what we can do about that. And thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and like if you did enjoy the video, and tell me what I can do better if there is anything you can think of. Thank you guys, and I will see you next time.